Oh.
Right, live.
Right,
You're ready when you
okay.
are,
Yeah.
Amanda.
Okay. Right. Thank you. Welcome to the annual parish meeting of Wawne Parish Council. As chair of the parish council, I will give a statement on what the parish council have done and achieved in the last year. Following on from my statement, I would normally open the meeting to the public for an open forum. This is where those present can discuss freely anything they so wish with the parish council and each other. This open forum would normally last around 30 minutes and takes place prior to the start of the annual general meeting. Due to COVID-19 restrictions around face-to-face meetings and our lack of experience with Zoom, etc., the 2020 APM did not take place, so there are no records for this meeting to approve or for me to sign. The continued COVID-19 restrictions mean that we are still unable to hold the APM in an open forum. That is why we invite you as parishioners to submit your questions to us prior to this meeting. All questions submitted will be read out in due course, discussed and answered when needed or possible. The details of those submitting questions will be kept confidential. It has been a difficult year for us all, both personally and professionally. We have not been able to see family and friends. Unfortunately, some of us have lost people due to COVID-19, including some well-known faces from the village. And I would like to take this opportunity to have a 1-minute silence in respect and memory of those we have lost. Okay, we'll carry on. We as a parish council have had to adapt to no face-to-face meetings with fellow councillors, getting used to the way Zoom works and all the challenges it brings. We have missed the open face-to-face conversation, not only between councillor, but between the public before and after meeting, as well as during the open forum. We hope all those watching the session via live streaming on YouTube are well. This is hopefully one of our last Zoom meetings, and future parish council meetings should be back in person, although we think there will be a need for social distancing as well as contact tracing to be safe. So let me get to what we have done in the last year. Policies. We have introduced or revised a number of parish council policies. The hire, use of the recreation ground, new councillor selection process, commemorative bench policy. Pavements. The parish council have been working with East Riding Council, and in order to accelerate the repair programme, we have contributed £3,000 to East Riding. The parish council have also agreed to set aside a further amount from the 2021 budget to accelerate the remainder of the repair programme, which should take place in 21-22. The Parish Council have agreed to ensure that the 21 street scene review, which is a village walk around including councillors and East Riding Council, will include Mewkes Road, so that the state of the pavements can be brought to the attention of the East Riding team. The Parish Council worked with our ward councillor, Councillor Birch, local residents and the East Riding throughout the building of the Ferry Road developments, and this culminated in the pavement being extended from the start of Ferry Road right down to the recreation ground after 40 years of villagers having to walk on the road. This is some achievement. Parking on paths. We've received a number of complaints about cars parking on the pavement, forcing mums with buggies, people in wheelchairs, etc., to leave the safety of the pavement and walk on the road. We have a piece about the problem in the Gazette, and we have carried out a letter drop to local residents. Precept. This was not an easy or a clear-cut decision, not by all of us, but we did increase the precept in order to build on the work we are already doing or know that we need to plan for or save for. We have seen savings this year due to changes to Gazette format and less request for support from the village user groups. But as I said earlier, we have contributed to the East Riding projects. We have set aside our contribution to the redevelopment of the recreation ground and foresee the need to do so more and more. Community plan. For a lot of years, the Parish Council has been pretty confident that it knew what was a priority for the village and what we should be doing. But with so many new houses and so many new faces, we have created a draft community plan. The draft plan spells out what we do as well as what we plan to do. We have distributed the plan to the village and asked for feedback, comments on the plan, as well as asking for new ideas. We have had over 70 responses and will review them over the next few weeks in order to determine what else we need to include in the plan before it is finalised. The results of the community survey will be published so that you can see why the community plan says what it does when the final version is approved. Parish councillors. First of all, a sad farewell to Pauline Steer, who has served on the council for more than 19 months and will be missed from the main council, but who hopes to remain a member of the Recreation Subcommittee. We have had a shortfall in Parish Council members for several years, but I'm pleased to say that we have more than a dozen applicants looking to join us. The interview selection process should be completed in the next couple of months, and the next issue of the Gazette should include the names of the successful applicants. Christmas festivities. Due to COVID, this was a very different Christmas for all of us. We still arranged and paid for the Christmas tree and lights, but this year we were unable to meet in the village hall or access the church. So we worked with Father Christmas and local volunteers in order to walk around the village, providing gifts to local children. Traffic management, speed watch. Our sessions with PCSO Bainton had to be halted due to COVID-19, but we are keen to continue with this moving forward. We have met with members of the police and crime commissioners team to get training equipment in order to be less reliant on PCS Bainton speed control. We continue to work with East Riding on a plan to tackle the speeding issues in the village. We have seen the report based on what they witnessed during a joint East Riding Council site assessment, and wait to see their plans on how to tackle the problems. We continue to push East Riding for changes to the Sutton Road Bridge, either priority sign or a widening of the pavement. Speed survey. We persuaded East Riding to carry out a further speed survey. High speeds on Main Street were noted, but do not meet the East Riding criteria for action. High speeds on Mewkes Road were noted, but do not meet the East Riding criteria for action. Sorry, I apologise. That was incorrect. I'll repeat that. High speeds on Mewkes Road were noted and do meet the East Riding for criteria for action. This is good news. Litter picking and waste collection. The Parish Council would like to thank all those that has volunteered to keep the parish free from litter. We are still working hard re litter collection and addressing dog fouling. We are looking at ways to provide suitable equipment to the volunteers or ensure that they are in touch with existing groups who have the equipment for free. We are also looking at introducing more general waste bins around the village, as well as more dog poo bag dispensers and dog poo bag bins. Thank you. We are continuing to work with the Beverley and Holderness Independent Drainage Board about our 5-year action plan around identification, current status and enforcement for the riparian drains in and around the village. We have worked with East Riding to amend the new road layout, Pimshurst Crescents, in order to address local flooding, but still need to resolve problems with standing water in an existing drain. We have worked alongside local residents helping rescue cars stranded in a lake at the entrance to the village and setting up flashing warning signs to stop any more speeding drivers from being trapped in over a foot of water and sewage. Recreation ground. We have formed a subcommittee of council members that are local residents to develop the plans for the recreation ground. We have worked with East Riding and attended a number of site visits in order to obtain grants for phase 1 of the site development. We have looked beyond phase 1 and established the cost needed to remove the old tennis courts and play equipment. I will finish by saying, look on the website or in the Gazette for further updates regarding the Parish Council, and thank you for watching. I would like to take this opportunity to say thank you to all residents who contribute to the parish and village in whatever way they can. The best way to stay up to date with Parish Council news is via the Wawne Gazette website and village notice board. The Parish Council are open and friendly and always happy to listen to residents and their questions, concerns and or suggestions. I will now hand over to Jacob, who will go through the APM 2021 questions from the public. Thank you.
Okay. Thank you, Chair. I don't think there's anything from the floor, as we are all residents of the village. If anybody's got any questions before we start about what's just been read out. No. Okay. So we received via the website three pieces of contact from 3 different residents. One of the residents has asked a couple of questions, so I'll try and read out the questions as best I can and then read out the answer. The answer will be sent to the residents as well who asked the question, as it would be that we would read it out to them. So hopefully they're watching this evening, and if they're not, they'll get a written copy. So as we said, the questions will be confidential, but so the first question is from a resident. First question is, on your priorities, foster a positive approach to ensure our parish is a safe place to live. Obviously, this is in reference to the community plan. The increase of traffic flow down Ferry Road from vans going to the industrial units, delivery vans, and general increased household traffic makes this road, Ferry Road, increasingly dangerous for those walking, riding bikes, horses. I regularly see the need for brakes being applied, as most do not observe the speed limit. The lack of signage on Ferry Road needs to be addressed as the priority. Even if we return to a 30-mile limit, drivers need to be made aware of their speed restrictions. So there's four parts to the answer of this question. So first part is the parish council have spoken to East Riding Council, and so have I in my capacity as ward councillor, about the possibility of extending the 20-mile-an-hour speed limit beyond the recreation ground. And it's ongoing. I personally haven't had an update as ward councillor. The East Riding Yorkshire Council feel that the current signage and speed limits are appropriate to this type of road, and that the driver attitude will not alter with amended signage and limits. Speed and/or poor driving and/or dangerous driving is not within the remit of the parish council, and is an issue that is enforced by Humberside Police. Having said that, the parish council have worked in the past, as you've heard, with Humberside Police to report and monitor speeding, which should help stop dangerous driving. The two come hand in hand. We will, with permission of the resident who's written to us, pass on the contact details to Humberside Police. As a final point, and I stress this all the time, whether it's in a parish council meeting or a meeting like this or a face-to-face, any speeding relating issues, dangerous driving, or any criminal offences need to be reported to Humberside Police directly on 101 or 999 in an emergency. So obviously that helps up build an intelligence report, and then we should be able to get further action from that. The second question from the same resident: what actually has the council done to promote pride in the community? What plans do you have to enhance the environment? Again, I think these link to 2 points in our community plan. So the parish council have promoted pride in our community and enhanced the environment in many ways over the years. Most recently, the parish council have worked with community groups to help promote their work and help their activities continue through grants and assistance. An example of this is Wawne Festival and Wawne in Bloom. You'll see on the agenda for the following the AGM, there is a grant application. We've been working on providing free litter picking equipment following a suggestion from one of our councillors and a later request from a resident. The parish council have introduced a dog poo bag dispenser behind the village hall, and are also currently investigating the introduction of more dog poo bag dispensers, as well as dog poo bag bins, as well as some anti-littering signs and such like, to try and deter people from doing it and give them information on where the bins are. For some time, councillors have been working hard, I say hard because I'm one of them, Steve is as well, on redeveloping the recreation ground. And we've been working with developers, so the developer of Pimhurst, the Chorus Homes, at the introduction of a nature walk and woodland, which would link hopefully to that site and the recreation ground. So there's lots of work going on there, and that's only a little bit. You've heard about what the chair has said already about how we've worked hard for the community to enhance where we live. Right, the third question from the same resident, last one from this resident. Improve the flow of information. I have on occasion asked for the minutes of the council meetings to be posted in the notice board, as not everyone is able to access the internet. The parish council has recognised its failure to post the minutes in the notice board, and the councillor in question has been reminded of their obligations to do it. If you can't see Steve, he's waving at the notice board. He says sorry. So that we'll try and get them up as quick as we can. We try and do it within 7 days of them being approved. Just a point of clarification: all minutes of parish council meetings are posted in the notice board, and as I said, we try and do this within 7 days of them being approved by the parish council. That's an important point, being approved. In the past, there's been some confusion as to why the most up-to-date minutes are not in the notice board or not published. As an explanation, the minutes of a meeting in January will not be published until after the February meeting. This is because the January meeting minutes are approved at the February meeting, so they don't become public until they're approved. And after they're approved is when Steve or another councillor puts them in the notice board. And that's same for any minutes that take place in February won't appear until after the March meeting. So that's the end of the 3 questions from that resident. There's 2 more questions from 2 more residents. 3 more, sorry. Another question. Is the parish council going to do anything about the state of Mewkes Road? I have been driving up and down that road for 40 years and never seen it in such a mess. Excuse me. What a waste of money. All it needed was to be repaired properly. A similar road near Walkington has no problems getting annual repairs done. What is happening is a joke and looks like it will cause more danger to road users than it will prevent. Let's hope it takes no serious accidents before someone sees sense. This and all roads are managed by East Riding of Yorkshire Council, and the parish council have no say over the works that were carried out. We weren't even consulted. And to be quite honest, in a ward councillor capacity, I wasn't aware that they were putting curbs in until they started. We've already had a similar question from various other villagers, and we will, the parish council can, if they decide to, under correspondence in the parish council meeting, write to this resident with the similar reply. So they have the same information everybody else has, if the parish council choose to do that. It's also worth noting, and I haven't got written here, but I've just remembered, the East Riding Yorkshire Council have programmed in Mewkes Road for a series of resurfacing works this year. That has been published. It will be done before the end of the financial year, or should be, pending everything goes well. So we should see a proper resurfacing of, I believe, the whole of Mewkes Road sometime this financial year. The second question from this resident. Then we have the footpaths on Mewkes Road. When will they be repaired? 2030. I have no problem putting my name to these questions, but we've said we'll keep them anonymous, so we will. The works to the footpaths on Mewkes Road are something that is dealt with by East Riding of Yorkshire Council. Various footpath repairs are scheduled for 21-22, which have been part funded, as the chair has already said, by the parish council. The parish council take part in an annual street scene review with East Riding of Yorkshire Council, and we will plan to include, if agreed, but it already has been, as the chair has already said, to include Mewkes Road in this year's review. I will ensure, so I'll bring your concerns, if you're listening, to the next parish council meeting, which is following this meeting. So that's the last question on that resident. One more question for one more resident. Quite a familiar resident, this one, to me personally. I would just like to express my views about speeding in the village and speeding in and around the village. As a suggestion was to mention about changing the speed limit to 30, this would enable speeding fines to be imposed. Would this enable speeding fines to be imposed? Therefore, the action of increasing it to 30. So I'll just read out the reply. Speeding and/or poor and/or dangerous driving is not within the remit of the parish council. This is an issue enforced by Humberside Police. Having said that, the parish council, as we've heard, work with Humberside Police to reduce, report and monitor speeding, which should reduce dangerous and poor driving, although we can't teach people to drive if they're just bad at driving. The parish council are also actively working, as is seen in the Gazette and minutes, etc., with East Riding of Yorkshire Council to look at the introduction of traffic calming measures in key hotspots of the village, as was explained by the chair previously. The increase to 30 miles per hour has been suggested previously, but this would have to be a decision taken by East Riding of Yorkshire Council. This isn't a decision that the parish council would, I imagine, want to make alone. And if there was demand for this, I am sure the parish council would, if they agreed to, consult on the matter before giving an opinion and making a decision on the singular issue. With permission, we'll pass on the contact details of this resident to Humberside Police, should the parish council agree to, so they can report speeding matters directly to them. As a final point, we would stress that all speeding related issues and dangerous driving need reported to Humberside Police directly on 101 or 999 in an emergency. And that's the end of the questions and the end of the answers, Councillor Warrendall.
Okay, thank you very much. So the time is 2 minutes to 7. Does anybody want a water or a tea break for 2 minutes? Yeah? Yeah. So we'll grab a glass of water or something and be back at 7 o'clock if that's okay.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Are you still live on YouTube?
Yes, we are. We'll just wait for Councillor Appleyard to come back and then we'll make a start. Right. You're muted, Councillor Warrendale, but we're still live, so when you're ready to continue. I think you're on mute, Amanda.
And so you, Christine. And so you, Anne.
Am I live now?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, we can do. Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah. Good.
You're on mute again, Amanda. I don't know why. It keeps muting you.
how's that?
That's it. Good to go. Yeah. Good.
Yeah,
Try
Okay.
again. Try again.
right. Try again. Try again,
Yeah.
Andrew.
No, you're all right. No, you're
Are
fine.
you on
We can
mute?
hear you, yeah.
Yeah. Start again.
Oh, right, okay,
Right,
sorry,
okay.
sorry. Right, okay. We welcome you to Wawne Parish Council meeting, agenda 6th of May 2021. The first is appointment of chairperson, vice chairperson and subcommittees. Is
I will
that
nominate
correct?
Councillor Amanda Warrendale for chairperson.
Yeah, I'll second
I'll
it.
second it. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I nominate Steve Appleyard for vice chairperson.
I'll second that, yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Subcommittees now, please. Any?
The only subcommittee is the
takers?
recreation ground, and I'd nominate Jacob to continue running the recreation ground subcommittee.
I second it.
Thank
Carried.
you.
Thank you. Right, second is apologies to receive and approve apologies for any absence, but I don't think there
No,
are
we're all
any.
here. Yeah.
No,
we're all
we're
here.
all here. Declarations of interest, please.
Just
Any?
finance for me, please, Chair.
Okay, right,
And,
that's fine.
And non-pecuniary interest on wind farm grant number 13. I'm a member of the fund panel that's given us the money.
Okay, thank you very much. Right, minutes to consider and approve the minutes of the meeting held on Thursday, the 1st of April 21, as previously circulated.
How's that?
Propose it. Will anyone
Yeah.
second it,
Yeah,
please?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
all carried. Yeah, thank you. Finance and compliance, approval of monthly spend as is on the agenda.
Any problems, any issues? I don't think so.
no.
No, I can't see any, but
No.
will
Yeah.
anyone?
Yeah, proposal
Yeah.
accepted. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, brilliant. Right, we move on to planning now. Erection of a single-story extension to rear and installation of bifold doors to 14 Ferry Road. Full planning permission.
Has everybody seen the plans, or do we want me to share them on the screen?
Would you
No.
share them, please?
Yeah,
Thank you.
so this is the existing ground floor plan and existing first floor plan.
Yeah,
I'm sorry. This is the proposed first floor plan, so I'm just gonna flick between the two, but I don't think
Yeah.
there's very little change on this one. And that's your proposed ground floor plan. Not much to go on there really.
no. Okay.
I've not received any correspondence. Don't know if Anne has.
No problem for me. No.
What about everybody else?
No, I have no problem.
I'll abstain, please.
So, Jacob, have you got anything you want to say?
Not that I can think of, Chair.
Right, okay. Well, in that case then, can I take it? Christine, you've no problem with it?
No.
So can we pass that then, please? Approve it,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
if that's
Second.
agreeable with
Yeah.
everybody. Thank you very much. Now we have erection of a replacement post and rail fence. Vehicular access gate, kissing gate with security camera, amended plans, car, house, farm, drove lane, full planning permission. Right,
We've seen this one before, haven't we?
Mm.
And if I remember rightly, we approved it. Am I correct?
Yes,
Yeah,
you are
Anne's
correct.
nodding.
so, yeah,
Yeah, so there's your pearl with your cameras on it and your light. There's the gates. Your kissing gate obviously goes at that side.
Mm.
Oh, that's the next one. Yeah, I think it's not right at the top of Drove Lane. It's where the next set of gates is, just after the cottage, isn't it?
yeah, I believe so, yes. Yeah,
Is that correct, Steve?
Yes, that is perfectly right. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, I can't see any more issues with it. I don't see what can't really tell what they've amended, having looked at it. But
right, Steve, your views, please.
Me, I'm going to abstain on the vote.
Right,
I'm not-
okay.
I've got a real concern about planning. We go through all this, we go through this time and time again. We say what we want, and Beverly just ignores us. So I'm just going to abstain.
Okay, all right, Steve. Christine,
no, I have no problem.
No problem as far as I'm concerned. No.
so if nobody else has got any problems, then obviously we approve it.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, we move on to Castle Hill Flood Alleviation Scheme, part of the Holmes Drain Flood Alleviation Scheme, including a new drain channel, woodland habitat creation, improved access and associated works. Full planning permission. Has anyone
This
got
one was on the
problems?
portal because there's loads of documents for this, but
Yeah.
they've been consulting on it for quite some time, and it has been a very big major application, and it should make things better for flood alleviation, etc. There are a lot of good positives from it for the environment, and etc. So I don't have a problem with it.
Right,
How
again,
does it,
Steve?
how does it impact us?
Well, when you see Castle Hill, you think of the hospital. It's nowhere near the hospital.
No, it's down the hill. As you come down, it's on the left-hand side. Yeah.
I think part of it. It's part of it affects the. Would it be the western boundary of our parish? Maybe. Or the southern.
I don't
Okay,
know, it's
it
pretty
affects
far
one
away
of the.
from us, isn't it?
It affects the side of the parish where, like, sort of Bransham and Kingswood is, that side, not the Beverley side.
Okay.
I don't think it affects us too much. It doesn't create too much of an. It's no issues with it. It's just quite a big project, so they're consulting all nearby parishes.
Okay.
Okay, well, I don't have a problem.
No.
No, I don't.
Steve?
No, not a problem. No.
Okay,
Not for me.
okay. Yeah, approve.
Yeah.
Right. Right, we move on to number 7, audit.
There's one more planning application, I think.
Ah, sorry, I couldn't see it.
It's not on there, is it?
It's
Is this
the
an
erection
extra
of
one?
D. Have you got D on your agenda?
Oh,
Have you got D on
that doesn't
planning?
appear on here.
All right, I've not got it
All
on
right,
this
okay.
one.
Do you want me to read it out, Steve, or do you want to read it out?
No, it's erection of a single-storey extension to the rear with associated work, Lumbercoat, Wawne, Common Farm. That's right across Scala Road.
So, I don't know if you recall, but as you go down Scala Benningham way,
Yeah.
there was a cottage built, wasn't there, next to the Wawne Common?
Yes.
It's that building there. John Swift built the cottage, I think.
Yeah.
So it's just a single story extension to the back. So you can see here, that's
I
basically
see,
what
yeah.
they're doing. They're adding just a small bit at the back there.
Right,
Mm.
okay.
It's right in the middle of the country. It doesn't affect anyone, does it?
No,
No,
not
no,
really.
no.
No. No,
No, it doesn't.
no, it doesn't really affect us, does it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. Has anyone got any problems with it?
No.
No, no,
No.
we approve it then.
Yeah.
All right, right, sorry about that. I didn't have it on the bottom of this one, never mind. 7 is audit.
So receive receipt that we need to read out and fill in.
This is our,
Right,
is this our
okay,
financial audit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
okay.
So who will
Have
do
you
that?
have you got it, Amanda?
No,
Have you got it, Steve?
No, I've not seen it. No.
Anne, do you want me to read them out?
Yeah.
Okay. I'll read it out verbatim, so it might take a while because there's a few questions on here. But what do we just basically tick that we agree to it, don't we? And if we do and not if we don't. All right. So you can record the answers.
Yeah.
Okay. So section 1, annual governance statement 2020-21.
Oh, I don't remember this one.
We acknowledge as members of and Wawne Parish Council our responsibility for ensuring that there is sound system of internal control, including arrangements for the preparation of accounting statements.
Yeah.
We confirm to the best of our knowledge and belief with respect to the accounting statements for the year ending 31st March 21 that. Right, number 1. We have put in place arrangements for the effective financial management during the year and for the preparation of accounting statements. And if we put yes, it means that the authority has prepared accounting statements in accordance with the accounts and audit regulations, which is something Anne deals with. And I don't think we've had any issues on that front, have we?
No, no, we've got all the arrangements in place. We've got the signatures on the bank accounts. We still need to chase more signatures on bank accounts, don't we?
Yeah, mine was going to go on it, but then COVID happened.
Oh, yes, okay, okay.
So are we all okay and agreed to that first
Yeah.
statement?
Yes,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Is that all right, Christine? Sorry, I didn't hear
Yeah,
you.
it's fine.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Number 2, we have maintained an adequate system of internal control, including measures designed to prevent and detect fraud and corruption, and reviewed its effectiveness.
yeah, because we have the accounts are brought to the every parish council meeting. We see what's gone in, we see what's gone out, and we vote on it.
Yeah.
And members who have interests declare an interest.
Declare interest. Yeah,
And we don't vote on it if we've got an interest.
yeah,
So if yes, we've made proper arrangements and accepted responsibility for safeguarding the public money and resources in our charge.
yeah.
That's a yes from everybody, is it?
Yeah.
Okay. Number 3, we took all reasonable steps to assure ourselves that there are no matters of actual or potential non-compliance with laws, regulations, and proper practices that could have a significant financial effect on the ability of this authority to conduct its business and manage its finances. If we say yes, it means the authority has only done what is the legal power to do and has complied with the proper practices in doing so.
Yeah.
So essentially, we haven't funded anything we shouldn't fund, and we've followed all the rules.
We've got the application form for grants. We've got the review. We've got the budget. We've got everything in place.
Yeah, and we don't fund any individuals, and we don't fund education, and we don't
Right.
fund anything that's statutory. So, okay, yeah, no issues on that one.
Hence all the problems at Christmas.
Yes, yes. Hence the problems at Christmas, which was exactly that rule that we couldn't
Yes,
follow.
yeah.
Or that we did follow. Number 4, we have provided proper opportunity during the year for the exercise of electors' rights in accordance with the requirements of the accounts and audit regulations. If we answer yes, during the year, the authority, us, have give all persons interested the opportunity to inspect and ask questions about this authority's accounts. Well, it's reported in every minute, and they're on the website when they need to go on the website, and we're open and transparent. I would like to say all the time. So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
Number
Yeah.
5.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. Number 5. We carried out an assessment of the risks facing this authority and took appropriate steps to manage those risks, including the introduction of internal controls and/or external insurance cover where required. If we answer yes, the authority has considered and documented the financial and other risks it faces and dealt with them properly.
Yeah, we've got the insurance cover. We've checked on the insurance cover. We've even done the check this year, but how the insurance cover will change when we get the new equipment. So yeah, comfortable with that one.
And I mean, the budget comes into that one as well. We make
Yeah.
sure we've got enough money
Yeah.
to cover things and we're not at risk, and that there's enough slush fund should we need it. Number 6, we maintain throughout the year an adequate and effective system of internal audit of the accounting records and control systems. If we answer yes, this authority has arranged for a competent person, independent of financial controls and procedures, to give effective view on whether the internal controls meet the needs of similar authority. Obviously, we'll be employing an external auditor, won't we?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. So that's obviously be done once the accounts are finalised.
Yeah.
And such like. We took the appropriate action on all matters raised. This is number 7. In all matters raised in reports from internal and external audits. So if there was any issues raised from audits that we've had, we've dealt with the appropriate action. Was there any issues, Anne?
No.
No. Okay, that's all right. That's good then.
You muted, Anne.
I can see her shaking her head. It's all right.
Yeah.
Right. Number 8. This is a penultimate one. We considered whether any litigation, liabilities or commitments, events or transactions occurring either during or after the year end have a financial impact on the authority, and where possible have included them in accounting statements. If we answer yes, disclosed everything it should have about the business activity during the year, including events taking place after the year end if relevant.
Okay. So that is it. If an invoice comes in after we've closed the accounts, we still have to have money for that. We have to set aside.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, we have savings, don't we, that we can
Yes,
use. They're
okay.
not ring fence. We have savings that are unring fence that we can
Yeah.
use, and
Yeah.
there's reserves and such like.
Yeah.
And we never spend it all within a few quid anyway. We spend quite a lot of the money, but there's still a bit left just in case.
Yes.
But yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
I mean the budget does that, so we know what the budget we're going to spend. So.
Yeah.
Right, last one. For councils only, for local councils only, trust funds, including charitable, in our capacity as sole managing trustee, we have discharged our accountability responsibilities for the funds/assets, including financial reporting and, if required, independent examination and/or audit.
Yeah.
If we answer yes, we've met all of our responsibilities as a body, corporate, and is sole. And it's a sole managing trustees or a local trustees. Basically, we've met all our responsibilities if we have any trust funds. We don't have any trust funds as such.
No.
The only thing we have responsibility for is probably the youth club money, but that's never been touched. So,
No.
and the management of the recreation ground. But again, that's an ongoing thing, and I think we're being fairly responsible with that. That's the last one. Any questions?
No. So we're good to go. Does that
Okay,
need-
good. Yeah.
Can you sign that and send it in, Anne?
Amanda has to sign
okay.
it and me. So
So you
I'll
can
get it
post
with me
it.
and I'll post it and Amanda
Okay.
will post it back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you.
And I'll send you it back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Okay. Right, we move on to grant application.
Have you all had a look at the grant application? I sent you it
Yeah.
earlier.
Wawne Fest hasn't been going for 69 years. But the Wawne show was, Wawne Fest is about 10 years old. Newcomer.
Oh, you are bitter, Steve.
Does it come across as bitter, Jacob?
No, definitely not. I think I changed it from one show to one festival, I think.
I don't mind. I don't like festival particularly, but I don't like fest. What? It's supposed to be festival.
Well, it was. I think I did that. I think we tried to bring it into a modern era. I mean, it's everybody still calls it the one show. I don't. To be fair, don't they?
It's
Yeah.
your fault.
It's down
You
with the
know-
kids,
you know
Steve.
what the best is?
It's down with the kids, Steve.
Gentlemen,
Yeah.
please,
Yeah.
let's get back to the matter in hand. So, have we any comments? Anybody, please?
You don't want
No.
No comments?
Yeah.
I would propose that we just give them 1,500 quid and round it up. We haven't given any money out last year, and we're in a new financial year, so it's not like we're short of cash. I just round it up to 1,500 quid because these are some of these figures are some of
It's
these
not like
circa.
this would increase the fund.
Some of these, well, I do it all the time. Some of these are circa figures.
Right.
So some of them are likely to go up or down anyway. And I know they are working hard to try and get it on this year with something that's COVID safe. So I think 1,500, 1,500 is not too much of a push. We can afford that, can't we? Anne?
Okay, any other comments, please? Anybody else?
Are you going to
I'll say-
propose
I'll-
that, Jacob?
I'll second his proposal for 1,500.
Carried.
Okay, fine.
Thank you.
All in
Thank
favour? Yeah.
Yeah, youth club. I must admit,
Wawne
I
in
don't know
Bloom.
anything about them.
Wawne in Bloom is the next grant application.
Oh, that's not.
We haven't had that one, have we?
Yeah, Anne's got
Anne,
that
have you
one.
sent us that
Sorry?
one?
There was
I saw something about it, yes, but I didn't know they'd put in an application.
we haven't.
Ah,
It'll be on next month.
So they've
on the
sent.
next one.
So they've sent an email, but they've not completed the forms.
Yeah.
No, right, okay, so the next one is, I believe, then youth club.
This is mine. When I was looking at the finances the last few weeks and Jacob getting the grant application, I thought it was time we turned over the youth club stone again and look at the money. So I'm going to work with Anne, if you all agree. I'll work with Anne to find out where the money came from, what the rules around it were, and to see if we can do something about having this money sat in a bank account doing nothing. So can you all agree, please, that Anne and I can have some permission to investigate the money and come back to you at a future meeting, might be next month, the month after, and give you a proposal?
Yeah, I
Yes,
agree.
I
Yeah,
agree.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah,
I agree. Okay. Right, you'll have to excuse me, I'm struggling a little bit here with my paperwork, but I've got on the next one, meetings and devolved power. Is this
Yeah.
with
Yeah.
us potentially being able to meet again in person?
Well, we have to meet
Yes.
again. The law currently says from tomorrow we will have to meet. So
Right.
now I
Well,
know
I'm
that
before that.
people are trying to change it, but I don't know how will we do track and trace, and how will we do so many people in setting the tables out. Are we going to be able to have it in the room that we have it? We need to make arrangements for a suitable venue, probably a different venue for the next meeting.
I think, Anne, did you, because I remember we had this discussion slightly before, about a couple of months ago, didn't we, Anne? Did you manage to get the large hall booked?
No,
No,
no, it's not been confirmed.
right.
Say that again,
Because-
please, Anne.
It's not been confirmed.
Okay.
Because my suggestion when I've been talking to Anne about this was, obviously, I don't know if we have to meet in person, unless I don't know if we have any options to devolve one meeting to a Zoom meeting through the clerk. Can we do that or not?
Nope.
No. Okay.
No, we can
So go on.
we can dissolve the next meeting, but me and the chair can have a discussion if anything comes up, but there'll be no meeting.
Okay. Right.
So we'd have one more meeting if we
My
needed
suggestion.
to.
Sorry, Amanda, you keep cutting out slightly.
That, did I hear that right?
I
So,
can't hear
we
you
can have
properly.
one
Sorry.
more.
No, we can't have any.
Well, we can't have any at all.
No. We did.
well,
The
when we
law.
get older, sorry.
I just say the law states that we have to meet in person after today.
Yep.
What we can do is powers we convert if we choose we don't want to meet in person next month. We convert to devolve powers to the clerk and the chair should anything major arise during the month of during May that needs to be decided during May before our next meeting. I've spoken to Anne about this previously a few months ago, but if we could have had the big room in the village hall, it would be, I think we'd be okay, because we could set out our meeting tables distanced, and we could be one person to a table, and then we could make sure the residents, the gallery's chairs are 1 meter or 2 meters apart. And we just make sure we have a track and trace system, so the clerk or whoever collects people's names, and when you're not speaking, you'll have a mask on or something like that if you can wear a mask. I've been to many parish council meetings where we've done that. We've been sat distanced and we've had a mask on, and we've just took it off to speak if needed, if we needed to. But I think my suggestion would be, in the first instance, is we need to look at whether we can have the village hall for at least the next 6 months in the large room. And we need to book that. We need to get that booked. Whether we have to pay for all 6 months up front, it's not expensive. Let's get that booked. Let's get that sorted. And if we can't, we speak to the school about using their school hall. Now, the school might be, with it being COVID, might not be very happy with having visitors in there, but we're going to have to check. Failing that, the last option, the very last option, is to potentially speak to the pub. Now, I know they're not open as a public house, but they may open the function room to allow a meeting to take place. I've not spoken to them about it, but it was just a thought I had. We might be able to ask them.
You can't hold a parish council meeting in a public house.
Not while if they're not serving
Ah,
alcohol,
okay.
I think we can.
Okay, yeah, good
I
point.
think as long as they're not serving alcohol,
Yeah,
you can. I mean,
Okay.
we'd have to check that, but I'm sure you can. And if they're not open, then yeah.
yeah.
So I don't know what everybody else's thoughts are, but that's my thoughts and feelings on the situation. I'd prefer to have a meeting.
Yeah, so would I. I say, I think,
I would have a meeting, and we definitely need a bigger place. If we're getting more councillors,
Yeah.
we need a bigger room.
yeah, we do.
Yeah.
So priority for Anne, chase the village hall, see what we can pay 6 months, do whatever we've got to do.
Okay,
Yep.
all right.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, police matters.
Well, hang
I
on, I
say-
think.
Yeah.
Go on.
Yeah.
Sorry, Amanda.
What if the village hall
Sorry.
is a Wednesday? The hall's booked on a Thursday for the next year, but we can have it on a Wednesday,
Yeah,
on a
great.
Tuesday. Or,
Come back to us with whatever the hall says, and then we can all vote on it.
Yeah. Can I just check on that then before we move on? Obviously, in our standing orders, rules and regulations, it states that we'll have our meeting on the first Thursday of the month. I assume we can, for a short period of time, decide to change that in extenuating
short period,
circumstances.
Yeah, as long as,
Okay,
as long as we give due notice to the public.
Okay, that's fine. Yeah, it sounds like a good idea, Anne. I didn't think of that.
Police matters.
Damage.
Anne?
so sometime over the 8th and the 11th of April, the graffiti was found on various play equipment in the park, and antisocial behaviour of people camping on the field was reported.
Just on the, me and Steve dealt with the camping on the field. It was, as far as we could see, 2 vehicles, 2, I think I'm going to say 2 young females, 2 tents. They looked to have a fire. They definitely had a barbecue because they left the barbecue behind in the hedgerow. There was hot coals on the grass. All of this was reported. They were, obviously we don't want them camping on there. Me and Steve did go down. We didn't want to go on our own, so check it. It was reported to the police. The police basically said it's a council matter because it's council land. So I also rang the fire brigade to put the barbecue out and the fire out because that's what I was told to do by the police. The council, I rang the out of hours East Riding Council line, and they said because it's not East Riding Council land, they will not do anything. They won't send anybody, and it is our land. So I asked one of the officers at East Riding what could be done to support us if it happens again in the future. It is a matter for us to deal with, as we were advised. However, we as a parish council can instruct East Riding Council officers to act if we want to cover their costs.
Okay.
So because we don't have the expertise or the contacts to have somebody forcibly removed from our land, if it happens again, we can speak to East Riding and ask their legal team and their officers to set in motion the wheels to remove them from the land, as long as we agree to cover the cost. So I'll just read on the rest of this message just to let you know. Depending on the nature of the camp, there may be, and they may have left by the time legal steps to take. If it happens again, if we have people setting up camp for longer, the clerk can contact one of the officers, and I'll give you the officer's name after the meeting, just so you've got them on record, about going forward with it. The police apparently said they couldn't do anything, but this officer has told me that they believe alternative is for the police to move them on using their powers, because if it is on public land and they are preventing its use for other public or business purposes, it is up to them if they have to choose to do that. So basically, if there was a large camp on there and they were stopping it from being used as a recreation ground or stopping the fitness class, for example, going on there, that would then be grounds for the police to hopefully get involved and move them on, because stopping it being used as a proper purpose. So that's basically it. There's a few options there to deal with certain things like that again. And it's just, it's worth noting, it'll be in the minutes somewhere, but it's not the first time we had a worry 2 years ago. I did, because the lock on the gate had been cut. Don't know if you remember, Steve.
Yeah.
The lock on the gate had been cut, but nobody was on it, and I think somebody had scoped out the land to potentially try and set up a camp on. And I was walking the dog and saw the lock had been cut and put another lock on it. That's why there's 2 locks on it now. But yeah, so it's just a couple of options there.
Can we not erect some sort of signage saying no camping and no fires?
Well, that's another thing we discussed. I think it'll probably tie in with the no litter signs. When we do the no littering sign and the pick up after your dog sign, we'll try and put no camping, no fires, etc. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right. All right. Community plan.
Oh, sorry. Can I check? Can I just come in?
Yeah.
On police. I've just remembered I had a piece of correspondence as a ward councillor from a resident down Greens Lane about concerns for motorbikes going on the riverbank, because the Environment Agency have removed the sty. I do know that Darren Bainton and various other Humberside police officers have been in the village monitoring it on an on-off basis as and when they know it's happening. And the police are dealing with that and speaking to the resident directly. And the council, hopefully, Shrining Council, are going to try and speak to the Environment Agency about reinstating the sty and fence so bikes can't get on the riverbank. Obviously, they've taken off them along the edge of it at the top, the gates and the such like, but it's the actual sty and fence getting up to the riverbank that's been taken away as well. And that's what stops people getting onto the riverbank. So we're hopefully going to speak to the right people and hopefully have that reinstated if they will. There is also the argument, I will say, and I don't necessarily disagree with this, that having a sty poses a barrier to accessibility for some people. So it might be that we introduce a kissing gate or something similar, or something like that.
I agree with what you're saying, but just before you get to the riverbank, again, the drain, it's an entrance onto that footpath. All they have to do is to go onto that footpath and on the riverbank. The footpath just leads to it.
Yeah, true. They'd have to go around the field, wouldn't they? But yeah.
It's only a very short distance, because I did it today.
Yeah, true. Well, hopefully the Environment Agency will look at it properly and try and stop all vehicular access onto the riverbank, unless they need to be on the riverbank, obviously. I'll let you know if we hear any more next time.
Okay, thank you.
Community plan.
We've finished consulting. I've started the work on producing some results. I didn't want it to be a boring document of numbers, so I'm trying to make it exciting with some pie charts, not food, the actual pie charts that show numbers. And I should have something for the next meeting to give you, should have a finished report for the next meeting or prior to the next meeting, so we can discuss it at the next meeting, which should hopefully shape the community plan. Initial, off the top of my head, initial sort of figures say that we're not far our priorities, our goals, our aspirations aren't actually far from what people want.
Good.
And we have had like 70 odd, 80 odd responses, which is pretty good. I would have liked more, but it is what it is. And I will be honest, I thought we'd have more negative responses than we have, but there is a lot of positive stuff. There are some negative stuff, which we will deal with in due course. Obviously, it has led to an influx of people wanting to be councillors as well, which we are coming on to shortly. And I think once we've seen the report that I'll compile for everybody, we can decide on a new community plan, agree it at the next meeting or the meeting after, because we should have some new councillors by then to try and work with it with, and hopefully we should be in a better position to have a community plan which should direct what this parish council does more. Now we have all the new faces, and it isn't, looking at the names of people who have submitted names, it isn't all the same names. There are some names that I don't really know that well or know at all, so which is an indication of them being quite new people, and you'll probably agree with that as well, being there's a lot of new names on there.
Good.
Oh, that's great. Wind farm grant.
God, I've got a long stretch here. I've got the next one after this as well. Do you want me to just explain
No.
what's going on, Anne? Yeah, okay. So I am, as ward councillor for East Round Yorkshire Council Mid Holderness, sit on a funding panel, as most of you know, the Withenwick Community Wind Farm Fund. So each year, the Withenwick Community Wind Farm Fund gets a sum of money from Energy Contour, the owner of the wind farm, and distributes it to people who apply. We did apply for the recreation ground and we were turned down, but at the last meeting we agreed to give £1,000 to every parish council in North and Mid Holderness, which is the areas of benefit for our fund. So that's about 40, I think it was about 40 parish councils. No, it's maybe not. It's maybe about 30 parish councils. So we chose to give away, I think it was £1,000, wasn't it, Anne? Yeah. And I've asked Anne to put it on rather than just putting it under correspondence, because we haven't got the money yet. We have to write back and say what we want to do with the money. There's no formal application process like last time. It's just a case of justifying why we want the money. Now, my proposal would be to spend it on litter signs, including no camping and fire signs for the recreation ground, some more dog poo bag dispensers, and there is quite a nifty one that Anne sent me, which is a dog poo bag dispenser with a bin attached underneath. And I'd like to site one of these at the recreation ground, and I'd like to site one potentially, depending on what Amanda says to this, on the strip of grass next to your fence, Amanda, you know, near the entrance to that wooded area.
Well,
Because
yes, we don't own that bit of land anymore.
Oh no, you don't, do you? No. Right. Well, we might have to speak. You might have to speak to the new owner for me and ask them. Obviously, we'd cover the costs of maintenance and installation, etc., and we'd have to agree the finer details of it. But an installation of one there, because there was quite a lot of dog poo bags picked up in that wooded area by the litter pickers. The other thing I'd like to spend the money on is the purchase of around 5 or 6 sets of litter picking equipment, as was discussed and agreed last time. So litter pickers, gloves, high-vis jackets, bags, and potentially some stickers or labels to put on the bags to say who's collected it. I don't think there was anything else, Anne, was there?
Jacob, did
Nope.
the East Riding man ever get back to you about a container for the excess bags?
No, he hasn't yet, but I can chase that.
Well, you can.
And we can potentially use the money to purchase something for that as well.
Yeah. Okay.
So what I want to do is, I don't have finalised costs, but there shouldn't be any cost to the parish council. So what I'd like to do is, I'd like to propose now that I work with the clerk and let you all know how I get on to put together a shopping list, and once we've got the money, buy the dog poo bag dispensers, the bins, and the litter picking equipment, and potentially the storage unit for the litter pickings, up to the value of obviously £1,000 that we've been granted. And then I don't know, I don't think it'll be more than £1,000, but maybe 250 quid over, just in case there's a bit of a overspend. If that's, then that would be parish council money, the 250.
I have one of the old style bag poo dispensers in my garage.
Yes, and did say that, and we've sort of given a location for. I think we've got 3 new locations I had in my head somewhere.
Okay.
So if everybody's fine with that proposal, it shouldn't cost parish council anything more than 250 quid if we need to overspend.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Recreation ground.
Let me just get a drink.
Don't just-
Right. Well, I've not got anything else after this, I don't think. Recreation ground, I've chased East Riding again. Obviously, as per last time, we do need planning permission, so that might affect how we apply for a grant. I have questions why we need planning permission, and they've still said you need it because of the significant move of the play area. There are a couple of other things I noted while I was walking around the recreation ground the other night, which I'll bring up in a second. But we're just on with waiting for the application to come through. There's a few more things we need to finalise, and then that should go to decision. Now, we're actually applying for less than £100,000 now, so it might not go to East Riding Yorkshire Council's cabinet. It might just be office the decision. I need clarity on that because I was told if it's over £100,000, it would need to go to cabinet. So we might get a quicker decision. My thing that I noticed when I was on the site the other night was the hedgerow, which adjoins the cottage's back garden, the opposite side to where the old play area is of the big field, Steve.
Red house.
The red house, yeah.
Yeah.
That's quite overgrown. And I have two questions really. If we cut that back, we could potentially have about 4 foot more of recreation ground, of more field along that edge, which isn't a small area, but I don't know who owns it and who's responsible for it.
It's our hedge, and it was always cut. It was always cut by the East Riding when the cricket club were there. All the hedges are ours.
Okay, right.
So it can be cut
So,
back.
I think I don't know whether we want to try and see if a villager will do it, or if we want to try and get a landscaping company in to quote to do it.
Okay.
And just investigate. I know we've had problems with people saying we can't cut hedges back, so I think we just need to double check with East Riding to check we are actually allowed to cut it back and how much we're allowed to cut it back by. I think it's worth checking just to be on the safe side.
When the cricket club were there, that was the tree, and that was where we cut it to. It really was cut,
okay. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So I think it's probably just where see if Anne can get a quote from her groundskeeping or landscapers just to cut it back to a reasonable length so we get a bit more of the field back and just tidy it up. Because once we get the play area in there, I don't think we'll be able to get cutters in there as often, or as big ones anyway.
And a polite letter to the Red House telling them what we're doing?
Yeah, just to see if because they might say, oh, we've got some stuff we can help you with it or whatever. So yeah.
Okay.
Nothing else from me on recreation ground. I don't know if there's anything from Steve.
Okay.
No, I'm okay, thank you.
Right. Traffic calming. Now, I've not got anything else to add to what we discussed this time of year, Steve.
No, we just said it would be in a standing agenda item, didn't we?
Was gonna mention A-frames.
Yeah, the only thing that we're looking for is prices about having the signs. We've not pursued that at all until such time as we can get back to having the Darren do the speed alert. Are you still going to chase prices for us, Anne? Okay, I'll work with Anne on prices for the A-frames.
Okay, all right. We'll keep it on the agenda, I think, yeah?
Yeah.
All right. Right, new councillor selection process.
All the applications have gone out to the applicants.
Right.
Just waiting until they come back.
To come back to us. Yeah.
Good.
All right.
Do you know, Anne? If I can't, sorry, Amanda, go on. I was just going to ask.
No, carry on, Jacob, man. There's nothing.
All right, okay. I was just going to ask how many applications you sent out, and if anybody is not interested now. Do you know off the top of your head? What, they're about 12?
Don't read the names out. Sorry, you can't.
No,
I just wondered if anybody.
Yes, 2 have dropped out.
Okay, all right, okay. Well, obviously we'll wait.
I sent about a dozen out, and 2 of them dropped out.
Okay, all right. We'll wait till we've got everything together, and then we can move on from there, can't we? Yeah. Okay. Communications website and
I was just, sorry, Amanda, I was just going to say on that piece, we'd said at the last meeting that we were going to do the interviews during May. Obviously, if we've not had the replies back yet, we'll have to push that to do the interviews during June.
Yeah.
They have a deadline to reply, don't they, Anne?
Yeah. I was sending them out, so they got I think it's the 16th.
Yep.
Yeah, the 16th to get it back to me.
16th of May.
Yes, 16th of May.
Ah.
So we
16th of
can,
May.
if Anne sends an email out to all of us, we could say these are the evenings when we can do the interviews with the applicants. Once we've got that, we can then work out, we can start to arrange with Jacob to book a Zoom meeting. So I'll get Anne and I'll put a little bit of these are the dates, what night do you prefer to do it? It depends on the responses we get. If we get 8 completed, we might be able to do them in one night. If we get all 10 respond, we might have to do it over 2 nights. So if we do a spreadsheet of the dates, at least after the 16th, so the weekend after the 16th, we'll have the 2 meetings and then we can have them at the June meeting like we planned.
Okay, yeah, sounds like a plan, Steve. Yeah.
Okay.
Communication.
Looks like you again, Jacob, is that?
I'll start communication off with, we've had a couple of further complaints about planning. At the last meeting, we had a request for information from an email that we didn't understand, an email address we didn't understand, and there was an individual named in the email address, and there was another individual named in the actual request. We said we wouldn't respond and we would ask Earnlicker for advice. We've got advice from Earnlicker and they say, write to them. Anna's written to them. Anna's emailed them saying you must write to the parish council. They have not replied, but what they have done is they've written to the East Riding Council to complain that we have not responded to them about their request for information. So we've now replied to the East Riding and we've still heard nothing from the individuals that raised the original complaint and request for information. This is going to rumble on, and one of the things that's happening now is that there are going to be more people whose email addresses we don't recognise. And in this world of conflict and problem, we're going to need a policy, Jacob.
I think you've already got a policy and it's GDPR. If you receive a communication from somebody under GDPR, you have every right to request they prove who they are if you are not certain as to who they are.
Yep.
So by us asking them to write to us and confirm their identity, which is essentially what we did, we have every right to do that. And I would hope that East Riding support us on that.
Yep,
I've had a similar issue elsewhere outside of the parish council with this. So we can ask them to confirm their identity. If they choose not to do that, that's their prerogative. Once we are certain that they are the person they claim to be, we can then help them and provide them with the data they want. Whether it be a freedom of information request or a simple copy of some minutes or something. But until we know who they are, we can't confirm that. Most of the time when we get emails from people, it has their name and we know that person and we know that person uses that email address because it's, but we don't know who this is. And it genuinely might be the right person, but in a world where everybody's data is secure and safe, and as we know, there has been GDPR complaints recently, we've got to be careful. So I think we've done the correct thing so far.
Yeah.
So what I had a look at was I had a look at other councils' websites, and others have a communication policy that supports the GDPR, but also sets out who can speak to the press, and it also sets out who can speak to the TV cameras on behalf of the parish council. So I would suggest that we have a policy. What can be said, who can say it. You might be able to make a comment if we've already had a parish council decision, but if the press come to us for a view or an opinion, we ought to say no comment until we've had a parish council meeting, and that's written in other areas' policies. So I'd like to pull together a policy document for us, send it round for all the normal things that we do for review and comment. And anybody, any problem?
Are you proposing that, Steve?
That is my proposal.
I'll second it.
Yeah, that's fine by me. Sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
We can obviously vote it into our documentation once you've done it at the next, I assume, at the next meeting.
Yeah, 2 or 3 months.
Whenever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Right, we move on to the next one, which is correspondence. The first one is litter. Anybody know anything?
Yeah, we've had a couple of people write in complaining again that Lee's not doing his job and not being down such and such a road and not been doing. And it's not true. Lee has done his job. He goes litter picking, and we're getting a lot of help from the community litter picking themselves and going down areas. We've increased the litter picking time and time again. We've increased Lee's hours, and there's even comment on the Facebook group about the individuals who are litter picking going back 40 minutes later to an area and finding that there's more litter there. So I don't think it's a complaint against Lee. I think it's a complaint about the current world that we're living in. We're seeing more litter and more waste, and we can't just increase the hours of the handyman and get him to go here and everywhere more and more times. We want the community to take pride in the area in which they live and pick up the litter that's outside their house. The volunteers are doing a marvellous job, but their job should be to pick up the litter that has been thrown out the windows from the passing traffic. It shouldn't be the litter down someone's street. We should have a pride in our community.
Yeah, and you put your finger on it there, Steve, because they aren't local residents. They're people that are driving through the village, using it as a rat run.
Yes.
Speeding through the village and just throwing litter out as they come by from McDonald's or wherever else it's open.
Yeah.
There are obviously 2 streets, I believe, in the village, but I think there's only 2, which aren't maintained by the council, either parish or East Riding Council, which aren't necessarily the responsibility of us to litter pick. Having said that, the handy person still does litter pick in those areas.
Yes.
And will continue to litter pick in those areas until we are told not to.
Yeah.
Because people can't see, or if you don't know that that's a private road that is managed by a residents association. Yes, there's been issues with painting on the floor, but that's a different issue, and that's been solved. We know about that now. But litter picking, I mean, if you complain about somebody litter picking on a private road with 5 houses on it, not that anybody has by any means, but if somebody does, then I think we're in a, I don't know, I don't really know what to say, if I'm honest.
No. And the next complaint was to say, Lee had sprayed the dog fouling signs on the pavement. We got complaints from someone in a private residency. We had got our answer ready when they came back, and they said, sorry, we shouldn't have complained. So they're happy that we've sprayed the dog fouling signs. So that one's been dealt with.
Okay. All right. Graffiti. Graffiti? Is this on the
Play
in
area.
the park? No?
It was just some pictures of the graffiti that had been done, wasn't it, Anne?
Yeah.
And it's been cleaned off. Did the handy person clean it off?
No, I did.
Oh, right, okay.
Thank you.
Fair enough. Thank you, Anne. Yes, thank you. Did a very good job.
And Shane, he did the most of it.
Oh, right, okay.
Oh,
Fair enough. Good. Sounds good. Yeah, that I don't think there's anything else on that. Nothing. No more has appeared since that I'm aware of. So.
What other
Okay.
what other complaints did we have, Anne? We've got the bus. We've got one about the bus stop.
yeah, we've got bin in the play area.
Oh, bin in
Service
play. Okay.
bin,
Yeah. We know about
parking and buses.
we know about the buses. We know about the bin in the play area. We're still waiting to buy the metal bin, aren't we? Anne's looking into that, so that's we're okay with that one. We've got that in hand.
Dressing.
What's the next one? Sorry,
Surface
Anne.
dressing.
Surface
Surface
dressing.
dressing.
Okay. This is the email from the East Riding Council saying they're going to surface dress Muse Road, spoke about that one during the APM.
Right.
Yeah.
And
Parking, speeding, I think we've addressed it, haven't we, as best as we can?
yeah,
Yeah,
speeding, we've spoken about that one, about 3 on speeding. And the next one was also semi-speeding and semi the bus. A resident has made a statement that we pay a fortune for the service bus. I don't know how the resident knows what it costs and who it costs, and I'll have a word with the resident to see how they know what the fortune is that it costs us. I'll have a look at that. But the resident wants us to have a look and see if we can alter the number of times that the bus travels into and out of the village empty, because they say it's costing us a fortune, and they say that it's bad for pollution, bad for noise, and bad for traffic.
Isn't that a sign of COVID though? Because people aren't going on buses.
Good point, Christine. Good point.
It's also a massive problem of empty buses all over the rural community, and if people don't use it, they will lose it. And last time we nearly lost the bus service, there was a petition and all the rest of it, a demonstration, wasn't there? I believe. So yes, we don't want an empty bus because it's not good for the environment, but eventually there won't be an empty bus. People don't use it, you lose it. It's nothing we can really do in all fairness, if I'm honest.
I should imagine there's a contract between the East Riding and the bus service.
There is. I think it's a subsidised bus service, Steve, by East Riding.
Okay.
I think it is.
It
So-
will
Do
be.
you want me to find out a contact name for you?
Yeah, exactly. And then we can talk to East Riding and say, do we need this many journeys? But Christine's point is, people might not be on the bus at the moment, but as lockdown comes off, it's certainly something we could monitor and ask if it's viable.
All rural bus services are subsidised by the council to some extent. I mean, it's just always been the case. And as you quite correctly say, as soon as there's no bus service, everybody will be up in arms,
Yes.
even though the buses are not used a lot.
Because it's there, it's convenient if you need it. It's all right, people with cars saying we don't need a bus service.
exactly.
And then when your car breaks down, you need the
Exactly.
bus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Councillors,
Sorry, one more thing on buses, slightly different topic, just to make everybody aware. In my other role, there's been some correspondence about the school bus, specifically the 917, I think it was when I used to get on it, the grammar school bus and high school bus. Effectively, where it parks at the moment to pick up the young people is outside the post office. There has been an accusation of a resident filming and swearing at the young people.
Oh God.
This accusation was made, and apparently there's proof. I've not seen the proof. The council are aware of this. It is said that they did the filming and the swearing, even though it doesn't condone it, because there was kids kicking stones into their driveway. And that apparently the bus overcuts their driveway slightly. I've spoken to the council and they're considering moving the location of the pickup of the young people. The proposed potential location is the bus stop at Greens Lane, so the actual bus stop rather than outside the shop. A few residents have raised concerns that this is a busy area already, it's on a blind corner, etc, etc, etc. I've pointed those out to East Riding, but I agree that it's already a bus stop, so it's not going to be unsafe for children to be collected there on a bus.
But you're doubling the number of buses outside of someone else's property.
That's the next question.
You're getting newcomers in the village trying to move the bus to someone else's property, not in my backyard. How the hell can that be right?
How many years has that bus been there?
Exactly. The bus was there long before these people arrived.
Yeah, exactly.
The next part of that was the concern for the number of buses at that location, because there's a concern that the Longcroft school bus and the service bus may appear around the same time as the grammar school bus. And if they're all picking up at the same location, maybe not Longcroft, it might be the college bus, I can't remember.
My God, 3 buses in the village.
3 buses. at the same time, it's going to cause an issue. So the council are looking into whether the buses will clash and whether there is an alternative location. It's been suggested to move it back to the village hall, because at one point the bus used to collect outside the village hall, but then it got moved from there because there was antisocial behaviour and damage at the village hall, I'm led to believe. So it's an ongoing issue, no definite decision yet, but it could potentially be moving. I do, however, agree that it shouldn't move for the sake of one resident.
Yes, so do I.
Yeah, totally agree.
Yeah. Shouldn't that one resident mentioned it to the school and got the school to speak to the children?
Well, I don't know whether it's been reported properly or if they've just taken it amongst themselves. I don't know what reports have been made. There's a bit of rumours flying around, if I'm honest, but I do know that reports have been made and the council are aware of it and dealing with it. I think the police have been made aware as well.
Okay. I'm sure we'll hear more about this in the next meeting.
Yeah.
Just on one last thing on correspondence before we move on. Obviously, we had some questions under the annual parish meeting. There are a few bits we need to agree to do, like passing bits of information on. So I assume we're all okay with what I read out earlier on.
Yep.
Just to get it quickly. Okay, that's fine.
So the only one that we've got there really to record is Muse Road, isn't it? Muse Road, pavements. Done that one. Yeah, pavements and the road. And we're going to send
Do you want me to send you a list, Steve, of what
I've got your list earlier. So I'm happy with your list. Yeah, I'm happy with that.
Right.
Okay, good.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right, councillors' reports. Any items for agenda?
Yeah.
None?
Christine has.
Go on then.
I've been asked, well, we've noticed on our walks round at the back of the park, that stile what goes across to the fields is broken at both ends.
Sorry, Chair. Can we go back to communication?
Oh.
At the last, sorry,
Yes,
Christine, this will answer your question, Christine.
Oh.
At the last meeting before last, we had a complaint about the stile at the back of the recreation ground. We said that we would write to the landowner, and has found the landowner and written a letter. The landowner has written back and said he doesn't intend to repair the stile, but he has no objections to the parish council repairing the stile.
Okay. Should we then be getting some quotes?
Yep. That would be our next
It's
step.
basically a plank. The rest of the stile's okay. It's only the plank.
We'll put it on the next agenda then, and we can discuss. Next
Yeah,
time.
and I've got another one as well.
Well,
Worse than me.
You'll probably know about this, Jacob. I was told by 2 residents that they go to other villages and they have local markets come in their village halls, fruit markets, once a month. Is it something we could do? I said I wasn't sure it was really up to us. It was not part of the parish council to organise this, but I was asked to mention it.
I mean, we can put it on the agenda for next time, I suppose, and speak to the village hall and see whether they'd want to organise it in the meantime. But it's not, we don't have the facilities to organise it really. A lot of parish councils in other villages, to be fair, earn the village hall, so they can do such a thing. But we don't own the village hall, so I mean, if they want, and we have their permission, we can give their details to the village hall as a suggestion. And we can pass on that, or even just pass on the suggestion that it's come via us to the village hall.
Just get them to speak to the village hall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do that, Christine. Yeah,
that's fine.
Don't forget, Christine, if it's very successful, there'll be lots of cars and buses on that street, and we get lots of complaints about it.
Yeah, I know, but because I was asked to mention it, I wanted to be seen that it was actually mentioned at our meeting, even though I thought it was nothing to do with us.
Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, has anybody got anything else?
Not for me.
No. Okay. Issues for communication. Any issues to be relayed to the residents via a newsletter?
No.
No,
No.
no. And any other business?
Nope, not from me.
Not for me.
Right, okay. Because I've not got the date of the next meeting, can I say that we'll communicate via email as to how and when we're going to next meet up?
Potentially it would be the 3rd, wouldn't it? But as you say, will depend on village hall availability.
We're not quite sure, are we? So,
Yeah.
okay.
Yeah.
All right, so keep your eyes on your emails, guys, and we'll try and get together next month in person.
Okay.
Okay.
And just hang around for me.